Before we start today's video, I would like to remind you fairy tales often have a happy ending, at least for the protagonist. Even if the protagonist is the antagonist, stick to the end and you will understand. The upcoming American biographical film, House of Gucci, is based on a 2001 book by author Sarah Gay Fortin. The film tells the story of Patrizia Reggiani's murder-for-hire scheme against her ex-husband Maurizio Gucci. The protagonist, Maurizio Gucci and Patrizia Reggiani, will be portrayed by Adam Driver and Lady Gaga, under the direction of Ridley Scott. If you can't wait until November, check out this video and see what all the fuss is about. So, is House of Gucci based on a true story? Did you ever hear that hell has no fury like a woman scorned? Patrizia Patti Reggiani was born in a small town outside of Milan, the daughter of a waitress and a much older man. Reggiani's father made his fortune in trucking, and he spoiled his young daughter with expensive gifts. They were wealthy, but they weren't members of Milan's high society at first, until Reggiani paved her way onto the elite social circuit. Mr. Maurizio Gucci, in the other hand, was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. He was the only son of actor Rodolfo Gucci and grandson of fashion house founder Guccio Gucci. Gucci and Reggiani met at a party in the early 1970s. Gucci was drawn to her charm, and he chased her with all his might. Although Reggiani already had other suitors, Gucci had resources, vast resources. He got the girl. The couple married in 1972. Despite Rodolfo's displeasure with Reggiani, he was very protective of his son. It is said Rodolfo attempted to persuade the Cardinal of Milan to call off their marriage because she only wanted the family money. After the couple had their daughters, Alessandra and Allegra, Rodolfo finally softened towards his daughter-in-law. The Gucci and Reggiani marriage was one of the first celebrity power couples in Italy. The Gucci coupledom was a fixture of the Milanese social scene. The couple's luxurious lifestyle also included a ski chalet in Swiss St. Moritz, a vacation home in Mexican Acapulco, and farmland in Connecticut. The Italian press christened Reggiani, now chief advisor for the brand, as Lady Gucci, in an indication to her extravagant lifestyle. Reggiani, who helmed the family business with Gucci's guidance, became his chief advisor. All of that changed after Rodolfo Gucci died. In 1983, Gucci inherited his father's 50% stake in the company. The family became embroiled in a public legal battle between Maurizio Gucci and his uncle Aldo Gucci, fighting for full control of the company. Maurizio won, but it was short-lived. His inability to manage the brand has had a severe effect on not only his business, but also his marriage. He packed an overnight bag in 1985 and left his wife and his daughters to start a new life. He may have tried to walk away from an extremely toxic relationship, but that was just the beginning of hell. His ex-wife would call and threaten him constantly on a recorded call. Used in their divorce proceeding, Reggiani forecasted, "For you, inferno is yet to come." And she was not kidding. 3 years later, in 1988, he sold nearly 47.8% of Gucci to a Bahrain-based investment fund. Gucci was forced to sell his shares in the company to Investcorp for between $150 million and $200 million in 1993, who took over the helm of the family business and their fashion brand. He finally settled his divorce from Reggiani around the same time, and she was awarded about $1 million a year. Gucci's divorce from Reggiani had been an acrimonious one, and he was ready to start a new phase in his life with Paola Franchi. She was an old friend who he reconnected with while both were going through hard times in their respective divorces. So far, so good. He was still alive, very much absurdly rich, living with his talented and pretty new girlfriend of 4 years, and with plans to marry again very soon. He learned to ignore his ex-wife's hysteria and constant death threats. All his major misfortunes appear to have passed. Gucci was shot dead on March 27, 1995. He was entering his office building when a mysterious attacker struck. 3 bullets in his back, 1 in the head, and 2 more gunshots directed to the only witness, doorman Giuseppe Onorato, who survived the attack. The murderer obviously fled the scene, and the case got cold, and remained unsolved for 2 years. Why did the case get cold? It seems many people wanted him dead, starting with his own family, especially his own family. Reggiani was a bitter ex-wife, who had publicly expressed her desire for Gucci's death, even threatening to kill him herself after the split. The following day after Gucci's death, Reggiani served Franchi with an eviction notice, ordering her to vacate the grand apartment she'd shared with Gucci. Franchi noticed the notarized timestamp, which showed the papers were drawn up at 11 a.m. the previous day, less than 3 hours after Gucci died. Of course, it was just a coincidence. She was ready to move her ex-husband's girlfriend out of the house less than 3 hours after he lost his life. However, due to a lack of evidence, the case remained unsolved for 2 years. The manhunt for Gucci's murderer was over by 1997. Then a man, named Gabriel Carpanisi, approached the detectives with an interesting little tale. The police finally sent an undercover agent to check his story. Reggiani was very vocal about how much she wanted her ex dead. And as coincidence has it, her friend, psychic Giuseppina Pina Arima, was living at the same Milan Pensione where Carpanisi lived. That's how he knew who did it. Reggiani and Arima planned the murder. Reggiani would pay $375,000 for the deed. Arima would enlist the help needed, starting with the building porter, Ivano Savioni, who would then contract restaurant manager, Orazio Cicala, as the getaway driver, and financially struggling restaurant owner, Benedetto Turallo, as the hitman. She paid a down payment and the job was done. All went flawless for Reggiani, who resumed her life of luxury as Lady Gucci the very next day after her ex-husband's death, before his body even had time to get cold. The rest of the gang got the short end of the stick. Now, they all were involved in murder and wanted the money for the high-profile slaying, but she refused to pay for their services. That's when Savioni started to whine about to Carpanisi, who summoned the police. Few people are lucky enough to commit atrocities and get away with murder. For everybody else, if you lie down with the devil, you will wake up in hell, especially if you refuse to pay your dues. And it goes both ways. Running out of options, the gang decided to enlist outside help to get their money from Reggiani. Carpanisi then introduced the gang to a Medellin cartel enforcer, who he promised would be able to threaten Reggiani for more money. Unbeknownst to them, the gangster was actually an undercover cop secretly recording their confessions. Each of the 5 conspirators was apprehended and convicted. The woman dubbed by tabloids as the Black Widow, Patrizia Reggiani, was arrested wearing a floor-length mink coat and sparkling diamonds. She was sentenced to 29 years in prison, but got out in 2016 after 18 years for good behavior and health reasons, but not for remorse. She could have been released early in 2011, but refused because she needed a job for her parole, and she did not want one. "I've never worked in my life, and I'm certainly not going to start now," she said. Reggiani is no longer in touch with her daughters, since they refused to pay for their mother's divorce settlement because she killed their father. She took her daughters and the estate's administrators to court, and so far won. The Italian court ruled the 1993 divorce agreement, granted her with £900,000 annuity from Gucci's estate, so even with the murder and all, she is entitled to her annuity, and also back pay for the years she was behind bars. That's what Gucci agreed to provide for her before she killed him. He did not put a clause on the divorce settlement to stop payment if she would go ahead and fulfill her death threats. That's a good divorce deal. Maurizio Gucci's ex-wife hired a hitman to kill him, and she still gets $1 million from his estate every year because he agreed upon divorce, that she would get his money every year before they officially parted ways. What an odd story. If you want to hear some more crazy stories about crazy people, please leave your request below. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. See you next time.